Hi there, folks. It's Jonathan Denwood here from WP-Tonic. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about membership and hosting. If you're building your membership, your learning management system on WordPress, which is an excellent idea, you really got to understand what type of hosting you're going to need. So you have a fantastic experience, plus your students have a great experience. It's really important. I and also WP Tonic, we've got a ton of experience in this area, and I'm going to share it with you. I'll be back in a few moments, folks. So I'm coming back, folks. So you're looking at building your membership, your community, your learning management system on WordPress. And I think that's an excellent idea for all the power, flexibility, and control that you get with WordPress. But one of the main stumbling blocks that people stumble in is not understanding they need really good hosting and the right type of hosting to allow them to successfully build their membership or community out and also provide the kind of experience they do for their first batch of students. Now, in WordPress hosting, the choices are endless. There are, it's strange as it is, it's still a very fragmented market because a lot of people host with a lot of small players, but there's also a whole plethora of major host providers. Now, there's not many that are really terrible. There are one or two that I would not host. If you paid me enormous fortune, I would still walk away. Um, but the majority aren't bad, but they're not fantastic either. When you are looking to build a membership website on, and that's just the truth. Now, there's different types of hosting that are provided by all these hosting providers. Now, one thing I've got to make clear in the first half of 2025 is that some of these solutions are legacy solutions. They are still sold, and millions upon millions of websites are running on these type of legacy hosting platforms, as I describe them. But also because of modern technology that's developed over the last 6 years, a lot of these terms are kind of almost semi-redundant, but because they're still being sold and there's a lot of the larger hosting providers that are utilizing these kind of legacy technologies, they still sell them, but it tends to be on the cheaper side of the price spectrum where you will find this legacy. What I mean by that is the term shared hosting, because when you're looking at more modern technology, you could say in a way that that's shared, but it isn't. And I will explain this later on in this video. But let's start off with the traditional share model. That was basically having a physical server in a data center, and it would be a large computer with hard disks and memory and an operating system that would be based on Linux, not exclusively, but I would say 95% of all these servers were on some form of Linux. And it would be a big computer with redundancy through hard drives and power supply. And the provider would, if it was on the cheaper side, let's say between $5 and $20, they would ram as many websites on that server as possible. and that there could be thousands upon thousands of websites on this big singular computer in a data center with hundreds or thousands of the same type of computer. And you would share the resources of that particular server. And if there was a problem with one of the other websites through security breach, or they were utilizing the resources of that particular machine, it could actually affect your website. That's reduced a little bit, even if they're utilizing this model because of modern security software. That's reduced, but performance still will be effective, and it really is the cheaper end of the market. In my opinion, a shared hosting environment will in no shape or form be an effective solution for you if you're looking to build a membership website. Everything will be fine in the building stage because there is no stress on the server in the actual build out. But when you get your first batch of students, the demand of the environment will blow up very rapidly for you, and it also will provide a terrible experience for your students. And the next layer up is what is called a virtual private server. That is, you have a separate area that none of, with its own resources. It's not a physical server. It's still that these kind of software areas are all on one machine or a group of machines. But your resources and what you get is allocated and can't be breached by what's going on another website. So it is better than shared hosting. Um, it This whole term is a little bit redundant, but it's still you when you go to a load of these larger hosting providers. This is the terminology that you will face. And they do have the setups, but I classified shared and virtual private servers as a kind of redundancy technology, but it's still pushed by so many of the larger server providers that I've got to talk about it. The last one is a physical, well, there's going to be one after that. The next one is a physical server. Basically, it was and still is the most expensive solution. You have a dedicated server in a data center just for your website. There are no sharing of resources of any type. That server is yours, and you pay a company to administrate it, to keep it secure, to keep it up to date. It's a glorified computer, folks, so it needs all these service elements, but it's physically only used for your website. This was the kind of Rolls Royce solution, and it was and still is one of the most expensive. But like the previous two, it's, in my opinion, a little bit redundant. The last one is what is called managed WordPress hosting, which is a term that has been misused and abused so much that it can cause a lot of confusion. But I'm narrowing it down to a modern technology basis where they're using technologies. And one of the terms of these new technologies is a droplet. A droplet has some of the elements of a virtual private setup, but it also has some of the elements of a dedicated physical server. I'm simplifying this quite a bit because I don't want to go on a real bender basically and spew out a lot of terms like Doxer and a load of other server technical terms. But it is a virtual setup, but a much more powerful and technologically, a much more advanced setup. Now, it at WP-Tonic, that's what we use, but then we use Vultr high frequency servers on a lot of the websites that we're supporting. I won't say it's exclusive because sometimes, but on the ones that are getting um, membership and growing, we put them on a Vultr high frequency server setup using this modern technology. And that means the hardware is some of the best on the market. And then the actual setup, the droplet, is also administered and set up with some of the best technology possible. We combine it with an external service called Cloudflare that can also deal with attacks to the server. And also it uses modern CDN technology to balance out the demand on your membership website. Obviously, you've got to have the right mixture of feet of starter website builder. I think, in my opinion, if you use the wrong key plugin elements, it's just going to slow down your website. Doesn't matter what power you've got. I would use a modern Gutenberg-based page builder myself for the speed that you get, and Cadence WP Cadence is the way I would go, or utilize something like Generate Press. Um, Using a great learning management plugin, Lifter LMS, LearnDash, or Tutor LMS. They're great choices. And also choosing a hosting company that really understands about membership. A lot of these larger organizations, a lot of the people on the front end are just reading off scripts and they're not particularly well trained. And they can help you with some basic stuff. But then if it's anything complicated, the ticket's gonna be escalated and you're going to wait a fair bit of time. It's just a reality. Um, the other factor, which you will rapidly um, come across, is that the peculiarities of membership is that the back and forth of data, or somebody answers a question on a quiz and their answer is then interpreted by the website and then they get answer back. There's a lot of that involved in a modern membership website. Because of that, it's using a lot what are called PHP workers. And on the cheaper plans, they really cut down on these PHP workers because they can give the delusion the front end of the website using modern caching technologies. They can still have a very fast front end loading website to you, but the back end, they will really cut back on the PHP workers because that does cost money. And that is also a fundamental thing that will really slow down your membership website. Now, fundamentally, what do you have to pay for? Well, I think when you're starting out with your membership website, anything from a $25 to $35 a month, paying either month to month or yearly you'll get a good starter setup, or you should do. Soon as the membership website starts growing, you're probably going to have to look at something a bit higher, and you're probably going to be looking anything around the $100 mark. Compared to some of the SaaS models out there, that's still great value, because a lot of the better SaaS solutions, they start at around, I'm not talking about their bare plans, because a lot of those are cut down and you rapidly get to the next plan up. And they are, if you look at Kajabi, their basic plan, not their Kickstarter, starts at about $150. And if you look at some of the other solutions, they're all around 100 plus. Um, so, but like I say, you can start off around, I think around $30 to $40. You're going to get something that will enable you to launch and get the wheel turning, and you're going to be really happy. If you're looking at $10, $20, I don't think you're going to get the setup that will enable you to launch your membership website really well. I've written an article that goes into all this in a lot more detail. You find the link in the video description underneath. If you did find this useful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. That really shows YouTube that I'm doing something right, and encourages me to make more of these videos. And also, if you've got any questions, just put them underneath in the comments and I'll come back straight away and try and answer it. I'll see you soon, folks. Bye.